That night, I thought the worst I could feel was exhaustion, until the bed shifted beneath an invisible weight. A cold trace slid up my leg, a voice I didn't hear but felt pressed against me. "Don't move." I froze, certain I was awake, but what came next proved I wasn't alone. September 1st, between 2 and 3 a.m. The city outside was silent, only the faint glow of streetlights slipping through the curtains. Inside, the quiet felt different, too heavy, too watchful. I lay curled slightly on my side, one knee bent, the blanket twisted low around my waist. The strap of my nightdress had slipped, leaving one shoulder bare to the cool air. My body begged for rest, but my mind refused to settle. Why did the silence feel like it was waiting for me? Why did my chest tighten as if something had already entered the room? At first, it was just the mattress, sinking in a way that didn't belong to me. I told myself it was nothing, the frame settling, maybe my own body shifting. But then it happened again, deeper, slower, like weight lowering itself carefully beside me. My fingers clutched the sheet, my pulse stuttered. Should I open my eyes and face whatever waited? Or would that only make it worse? A cold line slid across my calf, so sharp it made me gasp into the pillow. The contact lingered, traveling upward in deliberate strokes, as though testing how far it could go. My body shivered uncontrollably, though part of me burned with a heat I couldn't explain. Why wasn't I moving? Why did I tremble as though expecting more? The scent reached me next, damp earth, faint sweetness. It had no place in my room, no source I could name. I inhaled because I had to, and it flooded me, turning fear into something darker. My lips parted, but no sound came out. My chest heaved in shallow bursts, betraying every thought I tried to bury. Then came the breath. It spilled hot against my neck, curling along my collarbone, close enough to raise every hair on my skin. My pulse stumbled, my thighs pressed together instinctively, and though I told myself it was impossible, meaning pressed into me as clearly as a voice. Don't move. I froze. Every nerve screamed. My body trembled harder, but I couldn't resist, couldn't run. Could it sense my surrender? Was this exactly what it wanted? The blanket slid lower, exposing more of me to the cold air, and to it. The mattress dipped again, heavier this time, as if someone had fully settled at my side, and that was when I realized the night had only just begun. The mattress sank deeper, the weight no longer tentative but certain, as if it had chosen its place beside me. My chest pressed hard into the sheets, my arm trapped beneath the pillow, while the other clutched the blanket that was steadily slipping away. The silence swelled, not empty but full, alive, breathing, pulsing with intent. The touch returned, firmer now. It slid from my hip to my waist, tracing the curve of my body in a slow, deliberate path that made every nerve shiver awake. My breath fractured into uneven bursts. Should I scream? Would anyone even hear me? Or was the room too tightly sealed for sound to escape? Heat poured over my back, radiating through the thin fabric, soaking into my skin until I felt branded. My lips parted around a gasp, but no words followed. Was it fear that silenced me, or the shameful anticipation that lingered beneath it? The more I trembled, the more certain I became that it already knew. The scent thickened, earthy and sweet, wrapping around me until I could taste it in the back of my throat. My pulse hammered violently, each beat making the sheets rustle faintly beneath me. The weight shifted above, lowering closer, pinning me without ever needing to touch directly. Then the breath, It spilled down the side of my neck, curling along my collarbone, in a rhythm so controlled it felt like possession. My eyes clamped shut. My nails dug into the fabric beneath me. And then, meaning pressed into me again, not words but a command I couldn't deny. Stay still. My body jerked, arching involuntarily as though the command had reached deeper than thought. Shame seared me, but my pulse betrayed me, pounding with a rhythm that begged for more. Could it sense that? Did it linger only to savor how torn I was between terror and something darker? The sheets tightened without hands, pulling taut against my body. My legs twitched, but the unseen weight caged them down. My chest heaved in shallow bursts, the silence humming louder, as if the room itself was leaning in. A flicker of light broke suddenly from the corner. The lamp sparked once, twice, throwing fractured shadows across the wall. I opened my eyes for an instant, desperate for proof, and there it was, a shape bent low over me. Not shadow, not human, darker than both. Its outline leaned close enough to blur into mine. My lungs froze. My heartbeat stopped. The light snapped out. The darkness rushed back, thicker than before, swallowing the room whole. And in that suffocating black, I knew, whatever it was closer than ever. The darkness pressed harder after the light died, sealing me into the bed as though the night itself had decided I belonged to it. My chest rose in shallow bursts, each inhale trembling, each exhale too loud in a room that wasn't mine anymore. My arms ached above my head, trapped against the pillow, while my legs were locked by pressure I couldn't see. The silence wasn't empty, it was presence, and it was waiting. The touch returned, slower but heavier, gliding across my stomach, pausing with cruel patience just beneath my ribs. My body arched involuntarily, a gasp spilling from my lips, sharp and broken. I hated the sound, hated how it gave me away, but the presence seemed to relish it. Fingers, if they were fingers, traced lazy circles, leaving fire in their wake. A hot breath cascaded down my neck, sliding to my shoulder, curling against my ear. My pulse faltered, my skin prickled, and then the command came again, not in words but in meaning that filled my bones. Still. My body froze, every nerve caught between obeying and fleeing. Why didn't I fight harder? Why did part of me want to hear it again? The sheets pulled tighter, clinging to me like restraints. My nails dug into the mattress, desperate for an anchor. The scent thickened, earth, damp and sweet, so overwhelming it blurred thought itself. My lungs strained against it, every breath tasting of something that wasn't human. Then, nothing. The weight vanished, the heat dissolved. The silence thinned until it was almost ordinary again. My body collapsed into the mattress, trembling, starved for air. For one fragile heartbeat, I believed it was finished. I opened my eyes, searching the shadows, the dresser, the chair, the curtain, all still, all familiar. But then I looked lower. Two deep impressions dented the blanket at my sides, knees pressing firm into the fabric. My stomach dropped, my pulse roared in my ears. I watched, frozen, as the indentations shifted, dragging forward, closer, closer, until they nearly touched my hips. I squeezed my eyes shut, begging for release. When I opened them again, the marks were gone. Smooth fabric, silent room. But the silence felt heavier than before, charged with promise. Even now, when I close my eyes, I wait for it. The dip of the mattress, the breath at my ear, the touch that claimed me without words. Because once something finds you in the dark, you never sleep alone again. Have you ever felt a touch when no one was there? Share your story in the comments. I want to know. Subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more chilling midnight encounters, because the next one might be yours.